Let u and v be two vectors in R square whose Euclidean norms satisfy norm of u equals 2 times norm of v. What is the value of alpha such that w equal to u plus alpha v bisects the angle between u and v? So this is a question regarding vector spaces. Here they are given us two vectors here, u and v. So let's take one sample vector u. So a vector will have a direction as well as an associated length of this arrow. This length is what we call norm of the vector. So here we have been given two vectors which satisfy this condition such that norm of u equal to 2 times norm of v. That means the length of the arrow for u is twice the length of the arrow for v. What is the value of alpha such that this vector w equal to u plus alpha v bisects the angle between u and v? So let's take a sample example for this question and try solving this. Let us take that norm of v equals 1, which means the norm of u will be equal to 2. Now what does norm of v equal to 1 mean for a vector belonging to R square? R square is nothing but xy plane. So norm of v equal to 1 meaning, suppose the vector starting point is the origin 0 0. Assume if the starting point is origin, then vector v would be any of this vector with endpoint falling in this circle. Now any vector in this circle, this arrow or this arrow, anything would have the length as 1, meaning that the norm of that vector would be 1. So now we need to find a vector u. U will have, now we took that v had a norm of 1, meaning u will have a norm of 2. Meaning if the starting point is the same, if we take the starting point as origin, the endpoint of u will fall within this circle of radius 2. Norm of u will be 2 here, norm of v will be 1 here. Now this particular example satisfies the question given here. Now we can take one sample u and one sample v of any angle to each other. Now for convenience I am taking that v is in 45 degree to this x line and u is in 45 degree to this x line in this direction. V is in this direction, so that the angle between these two is 90 degree. So we need to get w such that u plus alpha v bisects the angle between u and v. Now we know the angle between u and v is 90 degree. If w bisects it, w will fall at an angle of 45 degree with respect to u and v both, meaning w will be falling on this y axis. W should be a vector of this format, falling on the y axis. Now let us try adding v to u such that the endpoint will hit the y axis. So u goes on like this. V is in a direction of 45 degree to this baseline. If I take a sample vector like this, this is the direction of v. Now I am taking a sample vector of some length such that it has the same direction as v and that the endpoint will hit the y axis. Now whatever vector we got here, this is the valid w such that w equal to u plus some alpha into v. Now we need to find out what is alpha. Now if you take a look here, this is a triangle such that this angle is 45 degree. This angle is also 45 degree. This angle is also 45 degree. So making this also 45 degree. So this will be an isosceles triangle. So whatever is the length here, that will be the same length here. If that's the case, you had a length of 2, you had a norm of 2, meaning this vector which I have given in red will also have a norm of 2. Now this vector has the same direction as v, but it has a different norm. Now v had a norm of 1, this vector has a norm of 2, meaning this is 2 times v since it had the same direction. So since this vector is 2 times v, we can safely write that u plus 2v equals w. Now this 2 is the alpha given here, so alpha equals 2. Now in this example I haven't solved this question completely. I have just taken one sample example and I solved it for that example, and I found out that alpha is 2. But in GATE they are asking this question they have given us options that clearly option B, option C and option D are wrong for this question. So option A is the only correct one here. So option A is the right answer. For one example we proved that option B, C and D is wrong there. So whatever example we take, these examples should be wrong there as well, otherwise this question is wrong. They have asked this question meaning it has a unique answer. So even if it was a numerical type question, I could have taken one example like this and I have found out the answer. Because if the answer was different for some other example, then that question would have had multiple answers, which is not the case for GATE questions. So this is the correct answer.